05 January. So I had my initial consultation with my healers last night. Things are just clicking. Everything's going well. I just wanted to give an update, sort of like an update because so what happened when I had this last concussion 9 months ago, right? And I started making these videos. I realized, I was gonna die. This was it. Yeah, I was done. Um, so I have zero fear of death, but at the time there was only one thing that I wanted to stay alive for, and that was because there was something I needed to do to recompense, sort of, um, for being an alcoholic father. So I was holding on, and there was something else I was holding on for, which was to try to find out what the fuck is going on. What the fuck is really happening. Um, but that being said, so I went into my healing and I started my healing. I cut myself off from everybody. I started my healing, and due to my background with, the religious abuse, uh, I could not acknowledge. I didn't. I couldn't. I had to be very careful. So I was doing a physical healing. I was doing a physical and emotional healing, but disregarding a lot of the past and the religious and those avenues. I was using. So I realized that this whole reincarnation thing. Okay, so I realized that this whole, the whole Jesus thing and all these stupid religions were just, to keep people under control and keep them in line and keep them lazy, extremely lazy, and to cause division. Um, so I was just, I wasn't afraid. It's just I realized the power that if you recognize these things that they can take over you, such as demonic possession and things like that. So and I don't have time to become an expert in these things, but I know they need to be addressed. So what I'm trying to get to, there's a huge jump in the past few months in my growth of where I've come and my healing. Um, and I feel like it needs to be explained because I'm going to be making videos and it's just not going to make sense, especially once my healing really kicks in and I get some of these processes rolling. Um, I know this is scattered. I got a lot of confusion. It's just like a lot of stuff. Uh, so at the beginning when I started making these videos, I knew I had to get through in order to heal enough to be able to get to today where my mind is clear enough. My mind is clear enough. I can string together sentences. I can put thoughts together. I'm able to look at things more rationally. I've balanced out my feminine and masculine sides so much more. Whereas before my masculine side was all up here, and there was no feminine side. So, yeah, just a lot of kind of balancing and healing in that aspect. But so getting back to the healing. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. Coping. I was trying to find a way to cope through my healing because I didn't want to live. I had no, I had all these. It was torture. Those first few months of my concussion recently was just torture. I just couldn't, you know, a million thoughts just constantly in your head and everything else. You guys, you know, you can watch the videos. You know how it went. I don't even want to try to rehash any of that shit. Um, so in order to cope my base, I had to ground somewhere, and what I grounded in was, let's say, positivity and love. Okay, so I grounded in positivity and love. Um, and I've used that as my lifeboat here while I'm healing to be able to get my feet back up under me. My feet are fucking getting back up underneath me, and in the past couple months. But see, then I had that whole past episode just now that I went through those 2 weeks of mania, and it just sets everything. I mean, what do you do? I mean, you gotta just ride it out, ride it out. That's what it's all about. Just riding it out and keep on pushing through. And so, anyways, I've pushed through long enough. What I'm trying to say is I've pushed through long enough that things are coming. Finally, they're piecing together. I mean, like unbelievably, like after a lifetime of being gaslit and manipulated and lied to and fucked with, things are finally like there's truth. There's truth. There's other truth out there. So I grounded in the love, in the light, and all that good feely stuff. So this whole world, this whole matrix, this whole God devil thing, it's all, yin and yang. It's all, that's a paradox. There's a balance. It's got to be balanced out. So what I'm describing is, this is why I did not die 9 months ago, because this is a soul trap. What is happening here is a soul trap. So, okay, and this is what I'm saying. So I always knew reincarnation was right. It's just, I've been listening for years, and all the stories just sounded so cookie cutter. It was like, you could tell that there was a narrative, like when you try to research it, there was a huge narrative for this shit. So, I just knew that, I mean, you can go and you can dive into these rabbit holes of any religion, any thought process, new age thought process, any of this reincarnation, and you can get lost for years and years and years, for the rest of your life. I mean, it doesn't end. The bread and circus distraction of these rabbit holes is endless. It will keep you occupied for the rest of your life on nonsensical bullshit that doesn't matter. So I don't have time for that. That's what I'm trying to say, is like, I've enjoyed the breads and circuses. I've enjoyed them to the point where I'm done with them. Like, the taste of the bread makes me puke. The sound inside of the circus makes me sick. I'm done. So I have no time, no energy, no effort, nothing left. No kind of patience left for the breads and circuses. So I'm trying to get down to answers, guys, is what's happening, and I'm trying to get down to nitty gritty. And one of the big reasons why I quit making these videos for the past few months is because I knew I needed to go down this journey, and it had to be completely 100% honest. But I knew just by making these videos that it would change if I had documented like every step of the way of my coming to this truth, I would have been held back. There would have been things that happened. Like, this healing had to be completely internalized and really just sat with by myself alone until it was the right time, which is now for me to start making videos again, I guess. And I just it's going to be weird. It's completely different because, we take our stance and we plant our flag all over the place, and, but we have to say when we're wrong. We cannot, what stops us, what halts our progress in growing is our feeling that society expects us when we put our flag down and make a stance that is final and we can't change our viewpoint. But that's completely untrue. How do you grow? I mean, that's just retarded. It's stupid. It's nonsensical. It's that, and it's on there for a purpose, and it's to stop you from growing. So going back into the damn reincarnation thing. So, a few months, several months ago, 7 months ago or whatever, when I was starting to come down out of that concussion a little bit enough, I started looking into the reincarnation thing again. I was like, man, fuck, every time I come back to this fucking reincarnation thing, it's like I just immediately feel like I'm being gatekept. Like there is a narrative going into it. Like I was like, I can never get into this thing like raw. Like somebody giving me some raw, honest. Like I can't connect. Like I'm getting nothing from this. It feels like a story. It feels like a fucking cookie cutter story. You know what I mean? It has no life to it. It's like it has an agenda. It's there for a purpose. That's what it feels like. So I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, well, if this is hitting me, who is someone who I've always been someone to question and just not leave it alone, you know what I mean? So like I just kept on coming back to this thing, and I knew after having gotten rid of everything, from this world, and not having any attachments to this world, I'm like, well, why am I being gatekept on this reincarnation thing? What's going on? So I didn't, I haven't been, and it's not just that, it's several other things too. And I haven't been researching. It's not like I'm researching, like I go on there and I'm like, oh my God, I got to find the answer. I know what I'm doing is I'm intuiting. I'm intuiting. It's almost like I'm an antenna. Just like Google. Like I'm a Google. I'm my own Google. And it's amazing because I'm cutting out all the bullshit. It makes it almost impossible to be lied to, because as long as you're putting out and keeping your truth constantly, 100% your truth, 24/7. Yeah, it just seems like that's what is happening. If any of this makes sense, I don't script any of this because it's not going to come through as authentic, and that's the thing is that. So these healers that I found, that I intuited, guys, I am desperate to not be in pain, to not be in confusion, to not be in mania, to not feel like I have 1,000 different personalities, to not feel like I'm, oh my God. So like I'm desperate, in that sense, but I said months ago, I'm going to stick this fucking thing out because it's obvious that the powers that be do not want healing. They do not want you to heal. It's like they give you everything to distract you constantly. And it took me cutting myself off from everybody, a society, and just accepting me. I mean, when I first told myself I love myself at the beginning of this whole thing, I cried. I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, I didn't even love myself. I lived 43 years and didn't even know what it was like to even. I hated myself. I mean, that's weird, man. And I think so many more people are walking around like this than what we think. And it's due to just being born into a completely toxic, sick environment. So what else do I need to fill in? So yeah, I was like, so I started intuiting. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put thought, intention, attention into this thing and just see what comes up. And man, sure as fuck enough, if finally the past couple weeks, I don't know if it just burst through a couple weeks ago or whenever it did, but man, I intuited myself through a chain of events. I mean, it's unbelievable. It really is. If you think that what matters in this life is having a home, sending your kids to college, and watching the football game on Sunday, if that is the type of downloaded lost soul you are, and you think that's what matters, then this isn't going to make any sense, but yeah, I lost my train of thought. Um, yeah, so I intuited, man, and when it hit me, I mean, I'm talking when something's right, when you sit with it, because see, I had all these things popping up, all the things trying to come across to me, all these reincarnation. I wasn't mentioning reincarnation. I wouldn't say no. I was staying pretty damn quiet about everything and keeping it, just letting it simmer and seeing what would surface. And man, all of these distracting near death experience channels and preachers and gurus and all this stuff just kept and positivity shit and meditation shit and this shit. I mean, it was like they threw the picnic basket at me. It had everything in it, and they were trying to distract me, and I just refused. I didn't take the bait, and it led me to where when this came up, the feeling inside me, it was like if you have a guiding light, a magnet that's in the middle of your body, and it just went. That's how that's my intuition. That's how I would explain it, and that's how I am going about this whole thing. So yeah, and I found out that this whole thing is a soul trap, and so everything just is coming together, like all the religious programming, all the bullshit, all the everything, all the manipulation, everything is just starting to fall away. But it's still there because I got some major healing I got to do. These girls are getting ready to help me get rid of some shit that's been holding me back for my whole life, probably. But yeah, it's just a whole bunch of distraction, guys. And what really matters is, we're going through this life and we just want to die, right? We're just like, okay, get this fucking shit over with. We just want to die. We want to get out of here. Okay, but what if the fucking thing is, you listen to these goddamn NDEs, guys, and they all have two things in common. Every single fucking one of them tells you that you chose to come back. Every single one of them. Tell them that you chose to come back. Okay, so basically what I found out was it's a whole gaslighting thing. They set the narrative, and then all the stories are the same. You just got all fluffy duffy. You got a lesson to learn, life lessons. But they always wipe your memory. Constant memory wise, but constant lessons to learn and constant taking one for the team. I mean, it's ludicrous. It literally is ludicrous. So it's a soul trap. So that's what they're gatekeeping you guys from, guys. That's what that's what my channel's going to be about. I'm going to start exposing these gatekeepers. That's what has to happen. We're going to get down. There's only a few basic things that we as humans need to concentrate on. Everything else is fluff and bullshit and breads and circuses, distractions, and it's not good. It's not good. So I'm going to be getting some things together, but just to let you guys know how I'm making this transition from, I know a few months ago I was all talking about how every day was the most beautiful day I'd ever woken up, in love and peace and harmony, and but that, like I said, I mean, I was hurt. I was a walking corpse looking for a reason to take my next breath. And positivity and love got me through that, was my lifeboat, let's say, to be able to heal enough to get my brain and my mind enough back to me that I was able to come to terms with and break through these gates that have been set up, to realize that this whole thing, this is the problem, this is why we're all having issues, is because we keep getting recirculated back into this bullshit. So we need to stop it. We need to work on ourselves here and now. This is the time to do it. It's not next lifetime. It's not I'm going to ascend. It's not, oh, one of my other fucking doppelgangers on another fucking multiverse is going to do the work for me. No, it's you have to do the work. You know, you have to. You and me, each individual person, we each have to speak our own truth. And the problem with speaking our own truth until you heal, the problem with speaking this is why I've been very careful not to really put myself out there too much yet, is because I know I'm not healed. And until I'm healed, until I've taken care of all these multiple personalities that I'm dealing with, in splits in my personality and my ego and everything that I'm dealing with in entities and AIs and everything that we are dealing with on a daily basis for decades, you know, until that is healed, I have been very cautious. So I lock myself in my house. I've been very cautious about putting myself out there because I realize how easy it is to hurt somebody, you know, and I don't want to cause any more hurt or pain than is necessary, you know, but at the same time, you know, we're going to call it for what it is. We aren't going to be gaslit, and we aren't going to be told that we chose to be suffering and in pain and abused and used and then thrown away. And then somehow we do that. Man, I can't even go there anymore. Trying to figure out how people justify their religions. Man, if you're in a religion, whew, boy. Oh, God. I mean, it's just so amazing, the amount of cognitive dissonance. But anyways, I'll cut this off now. I just wanted to sort of fill in the gap of my spiritual journey, eye-opening, getting to the truth, filtering through, getting rid of all the gatekeepers and realizing what's going on. And man, guys, if you've ever tried looking into this reincarnation thing and felt like something was off, that is it. They are gaslighting everybody right at the beginning, telling you that you chose to come here. That's how they're setting the narrative, the story, that we keep on choosing to come back here, that it's our choice. And what they're doing is they're love bombing. So when you die, they're love bombing. These evil entities are love bombing. Not all the time. I'm just saying, for the most part, it's manipulation on the spiritual level, on another plane of existence. Okay, when you die, your soul and your spirit's hanging out there, and they are love bombing. These spirits, these evil entities, are disguising themselves as your family, as people you loved and trusted, and they are love bombing and manipulating us to keep on coming back. And when you start, if you use those two foundational things and then go back and start listening to these near-death experiences again, using those two filters, those NDEs start becoming alive, and they make a lot more sense. And if you're very sensitive, I'm very sensitive since my accident. I'm extremely sensitive, so I can pick up on, you know, inflections in the face, speech patterns, you know, eye movements, you know. I know a lot of other people are sensitive too, so if you can pick up on those things, I'm telling you, using those two filters, guys, those two filters, watching the near-death experiences now, it all makes sense, and you'll be able to move on and continue your spiritual growth now, having figured that out. And the reason I share that is because this all goes back to my healers, which I'm so very, oh man, I feel like I've known them. It's a very strange thing. Very strange thing. Amazing. You know, a beautiful, strange, beautiful thing. But there we go. There we go.